Good evening, BPL. We're back for the last 2 weeks of this BPL season. Will be the lower semifinals match for C League, Pachisuba versus Chosen. Both these teams, in my opinion, I faced both these teams during playoffs, and both of them are really strong. Chosen is by far the more annoying team to play against because Arc is just insane at ball, in my opinion. And Mega, you're part of Chosen, so you have any words about both these teams going into this?
I mean, both these, again, like, here's the thing. I'm not going to just, like, hard ride Chosen here. I'm going to try to, give an unbiased cast. I think it's going to be very interesting. My personal takes is Pachisuba. We know that this is a team that likes to maybe run it down. You have the Pomku tank, your only tank. Like, you have other tank options, but realistically, Pomku's your guy. He's... in these matches to sort of run it down, the Malga comps especially, it's what they're known for. Chosen on the other side, I know there's been a bit of reputation with Arctos being this ball player, but like realistically, watch back some of these latest Chosen
matches. You can play other stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Other stuff has been being worked into the rotation 110%. As you're getting a look at, history, lineups, things like that here. Chosen, definitely the better team on paper, right? Coming away with a few more wins and things like that, but overall both these squads still incredibly solid. They earn their spot here for sure in this lower semis, and at the end of the day only one comes out.
Yeah, and both these teams did face off in regular season. Chosen did take that 1-2-0. Patchy's kind of been on a hot streak ever since beating Goblin Goobers. They completely stomped Yatagarasu. If you watched that match, it was not close. Patchy was in the driver's seat the entire time. Chosen with a pretty dominant 3 over Eternal X. I only saw the last map of that. It looked like, if I was judging off of the final map with those two teams playing, I would say that Chosen was probably dominating that whole entire time. And the winner of this game will be facing off against Elvish Soul Knife, I believe, later this weekend, to decide who will face Freefall in the grand finals. Funny enough, both these teams were knocked to lower bracket by Elvish, so both of them probably wanted to shout Elvish to get revenge.
That was very similar bracket setups for both these squads, right? Both teams go 5 against Goblin Goobers. Both teams, have that one stomp under their belt here, and both have that match against Elvish that they are desperately fighting for. So yeah, 110%. Do want to point out, I'm not trying to be biased, but clearly I think here in C League, one group was better than the other, looking at your final 4. Not trying to throw shade or anything like that, but let's just call it what it is. When you have 3 out of 4 teams coming from a single group, just kind of is what happens here. But going into this match, I'm going to be very interested to see how everything shakes out. I know, I believe Demon is not allowed. I believe it was voted against here. And with the opening map being Antarctic, I mean, it leans into the brawlier play style. This is kind of what you want to play if you are Pachisuba. So interested to see how Chosen wants to sort of maneuver around this map.
So this is Chosen's map pick.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm very interested as to why Chosen picked it.
This is weird because my team did this against Chosen when we played them, and we purposely picked the Antarctic Peninsula to try to pull Arctos away from the Wrecking Ball. He did play Sigma, but here the bands, we have Patchy banning out the Sojourn and Chosen responding with the Ramatra ban, so pretty treacherous, but trying to target ban Pomku's Ramatra, Patchy on their side trying to get rid of Taken's Sojourn, perhaps, although Taken is really good at also the Freya as well. Facing both these teams, like Chosen, Patchy kind of has these preset comps in my opinion. Chosen, every time I've watched them play, it looked like they scouted what their opponent was going to play, and then they designed counter comps to just play for that against that team, which I found out that was double hit scan against me for some reason.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, is there's different methods to different madnesses, if you will. As somebody who's on Chosen, I could sort of give you the little bit of an insight here. But it's just sort of one of those things where not necessarily hard reading what the other team's going to be playing and stuff like that, but just being willing to be adaptable, being willing to change up, right? It is very much a common thing. The very few times we've actually been able to get a scrim going for the side of Chosen, be just sort of talking about getting people willing to switch. Like, don't ever be afraid to switch is just sort of the mentality we have on Chosen. And Pachisuba definitely can show some of that as well. I mean, Annie, Taken Wallet, this is a DPS line that's willing to flex. Pomku, of course, we know, has a few different tanks in the wheelhouse here. And then the back line on Pachisuba, I think, is always the most interesting thing when you talk about this team. Just because you're rotating between Funjin, Bowsy, and Timweek. You know, very unorthodox support line, but been proving themselves to be very, very good.
Very, very good, and Chosen showing their... This is like really similar to what Chosen played against me when I played them, was like the double hit scan with the Sigma Mizukiri backline. So a lot of high pressure spam damage, but not really good at taking up close fights. But it's pretty much going to be like just shoot Pomku, hope he goes down, because Pomku is running out on the Malga to start here. Arctos, though, takes a couple bolts, and I mean, Arc has been one of the few tanks that actually has like pushed me in the C League so far. So like a lot of respect to him. But Agnes just gets a couple bolts to the dome and gets taken down by taking really early, and Arctos will soon fall overwhelmed by the friendly pressure Apache.
I mean, yeah, that was just sort of an egregious overstatement for Agnes Saki on there. I mean, you know, you have the grapple on Sierra, so you feel like you can get in and out, but it's so slow that you are able to just take a few bullets and just, you know, eviscerate yourself from the battlefield here. But now Taken Wallet already has the Bola online here. This can be landed onto a core group. It could force a Suzu early, which then gives Pachisuba a massive advantage to just take the fight aggressively going forward.
Yeah, Taken and Agnes have both switched up completely, so the DPS line can really switch up here. We're trying to focus down Pomku. Pomku with a massive fight in his backline, dropping both backlines instantly. He will trade himself out in the end, but if you're Chosen, you just have to find trade kit picks or get out of here alive. As Agnes is surviving a little bit longer than you would like. Bullet Shot does get committed by Taken Wallet. Will find Taken. Arctos will trade Fudget before going down himself, but Chosen had like a very slim window to actually get back in there after Pomku died, but you lose both your supports that early in the fight, it's really tough to come back from that.
I mean, yeah, because Chosen, they've now effectively moved over to very much something that wants to play the distance and poke, despite having both a Reaper and a Shion who are good at that close range. So it's kind of sort of being the duel of who can close this distance here. As Tracer going in for the pulse. Ooh, has to recall.
Yeah, does a lot of damage. There's the pulse bomb, lands on the shield, but Taken Wall manages to take on Taken with help from the chain. Ignis will just snipe out Annie with the dire triggers. Bowsy that will find Ignis on the backside. Now Arctos the World of Hurt all alone. Is getting pocketed by June, and Pomku runs out of ammo at the worst time, but this should be a run down. Suzu just kid committed. Pomku with a slam just will sit on top of June's face. And then quick melee hit will finish off Arc as Taken is just trying to get out alive. Will not Funjin, will find them in the end. And now Chosen, final fight territory. Patchy still have a bunch of ults. Chosen only really have his Grapplux to work with. Maybe both support ults if they can, but Patchy can maybe just lock off, like, Patchy can lock off the gate. But Agnes finds Annie early, but nobody can get to the point from Chosen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the second that fight went over the 85-second mark in the first fight, or in that final fight rather, not the first fight, it just sort of meant that nobody would be able to get it back to the point unless you were switching to fast carriers, you know, characters, if I could speak English today, you know, your Luciers, your Tracers, things like that. But as we move underground here, be interesting to see, because currently Pachisuba doing a good job maintaining playing the space that they need to, but also being willing to take the aggression in the moments that they absolutely have to. Chosen currently struggling to find some kind of identity. It seems like going to try another little variation off the Reaper over to the Cassidy now. So it's going to be less focused onto Pomku on the Malga and more trying to take down these DPS and Taken and Annie, who are definitely being the thorn in the side.
Yeah, and Annie goes over towards their signature Reaper here in Arc. Last time Arc played this map, he froze himself out of his own flux because of that fan in the top of the ceiling. But now it's just going to be like the combination of the Stomp and Reaper TPing in is going to be a lot. Bolt does land on Agnes for a little bit of damage in the opening. Taken does have a pretty good angle, but June find out Annie really early on into this fight, and now the rest of the Chosen are starting to push forward. And Arc is already almost halfway to a graph flux, just showing how much damage he was doing in that fight.
Yeah, again, just that's sort of how Chosen needs to play this composition, where they need to try to find these key pickoffs, punishing these DPS a little bit more. Taken Wallet being very good on the Freya, trying to just hold angle.
Oh my!
You know, again, I say Arc is beating the ball player allegations, but you know, I'll leave that up to the jury to decide. But yeah, just being able to hold forward like this, now have to live the slam.
A little bit of a forced engage there from the side of Patchy as they were trying to do anything there, but now they have to turn tail and get out there. Now they are at risk of just staggering out. But luckily for Taken, Ignis misses all of his shots.
I mean, listen, you know, sometimes you just, like, sometimes that's like the Freya gamble, right? Where you just miss everything. Or you could hit 5 in a row and just delete a tank, you know, the options are there. But Pomku over to the Zarya here, have both bubbled nice and healthy. And with the Mizu cage to boot here, it's going to send the rest of Chosen running.
Yeah, it will help them buy a little bit of space, but the Deadeye out from Ignis. Abney just barely manages to get out of there in time. Considering much out from June. Bullet shot also committed from the backside taken. Wallet. Ignis will find out and he fluffs out from Arc. I don't think he caught anything. Bungie finds Ignis in the meantime. Here comes a Spree. Out from the side taken. Arc will drop Bungie. Spree does not find anything. And Taken Wallet up into the rafters. Trying to find this div act. Bowsy will assist. And Taken down. Well, Taken. This is going to be really confusing at times. But it looks like Patchy might be able to flip the point. Pomku down the low ground super low. Somebody is contesting from Chosen. I believe it is Arcos. Here comes the Kitsune Rush out from Zion's side of Pachisuba. Chosen will commit their Kakai Sanctuary to try to boot Ani in the backline. Forces that TP out from June, looking for the kill onto the backline here. Chain goes wide from Charlie Brown. Taken will take out Taken while Bungie manages to drop Arc, but June finds Annie, and the fight is still going on. We are in final fight territory for the side of both these teams, unless they can find a big grab from the side of Pomku. Pomku does manage to trap through the gravity, goes down to it, and there's only the support to life for the side of Chosen. Chosen Apache on the point. Bungie manages to keep up over the high ground, but only for the side between Taken and June will take out both supports. And now it's just Taken Wallet on the point. Trying to do anything. Annie will find out Taken, but the rest of the kill feed is just going bright red as the fight drags on so long that Apache just aren't able to ever get a reset.
Yeah, and you know, Pachisuba, I do like some of the swaps they were making there at the end, but still just not able to sort of close the distance and do what needed to be done. Again, seems like Chosen have sort of found themselves, even though, again, they're adapting even further, right? They never sort of find themselves in a complacent situation. You saw the second the Zarya swap comes out, Agnes Tachyon goes over to the Mei, as well as the Emre now for Taken. It just means, again, being willing to continually adapt your comp and try to figure things out. Pachisuba in the spawn room, if this leaves spawn, I will be very interested to see how long Pomku can live through these fights. Okay, Bowsy does switch off of the cat, back to the Lucio Kiri, the standard. They're gonna be able to play a lot faster than Chosen here, but Chosen kind of doesn't want to play fast. It's a much pokier setup for them, so if they can hold the distance, it's certainly gonna look better.
Yeah, now Taken Wallet going over towards the mate as well, just to, this is going to be trying to lock up Arctos and run him down. Bowsy almost goes down immediately. The Wallet from Taken does find a nice little bit of isolation, but Taken manages to find Bowsy, but Arctos gets traded. You can't let that happen. You trade a support for a tank, and it's bad for both sides, but Taken manages to find Bungie out. Here comes the chain out onto Taken Wallet. Ice Block will force up a Pomku, and Ani out come out of nowhere and find the last couple picks. Pomku with another Pomku with 3 in that fight, and a good opening pick from the side of Chosen, but it's disaster strikes as Arctos unable to be kept alive with an excellent Mei wall from Taken Wallet.
Yeah, the Taken Wallet using these walls to cut off the heals is just chef's kiss for Pachisuba here. Now in control of the point, which is where they want to be, right? Forcing the poke comp to be the assaulters, the one pushing in, is always the best situation for these sort of brawl setups here. Now you're going to look for the engage potentially here as Chosen potentially in too deep already.
Yeah, it looks like Andy's went really aggressive to try to get the pick onto Ani, but he goes way too aggressive, gets walled off fine, and gets the sight of the Taken Wall Mei. Arc, and everybody's dropping super low. Arc barely alive. We'll find, Ani will drop him. Taken needs to be taken care of at some point, and it looks like he will be taken care of by Taken Wallet. Just somehow still alive. Bowsy finally will find that kill, but now Pachisuba sitting on quite the big war chest of ultimates coming up. Chosen yet to build anything in Ignis. Has made a switch over towards the Reaper, just trying to find answers.
Yeah, not really finding the walls that you want here, so going over to the Reaper. But look at this ult bank right now. Pachisuba has both the Blizzard and the Graviton Surge ready to go here. These are two separate fights that can, separate ults that can win you fights entirely.
A big grab comes in. No kills will be found off of that. June will commit the Kitsune Rush, but Ignis, all your damage is gone with that kill into the Reaper. Charlie Brown super low in the back. somehow being kept alive. Bungie does have the sound barrier, looking for an opportunity, goes in, finds Arc kills. Arc was super close to the flux. Here comes the Kakayo from Charlie Brown, but disaster strikes again as Arc just dies in a really bad opportunity, during a really bad time.
Yeah, and so now this is going to be final fight territory. Arctos going over to the ball means no gravitic flux in sight here. You're just going to have the Emre override protocol here versus a slew of ultimates for Pachisuba. They're going to want to play the distance here if you're chosen, but you got to get onto the point to trigger the overtime.
Here comes the casino rush out from Bowsy, beat out from Bungie to respond to the override protocol, and Dago just snipe out the override protocol, and he finds his counterpart. Pongu will find June. Here comes the Blizzard just as a victory. Arctos will get frozen up on the point, and Pachisuba come out swinging. A lot of people probably figured that Chosen was going to be the ones taking this one 3-0, but Pachisuba say, we're not going anywhere yet. You'll have to actually fight to get this one from us.
Yeah, underestimating any team here is not what you want to see occur in this moment, right? And Pachisuba, they definitely came to play here, being willing to make those adaptations on the third round after things were looking a little dire, and you know, Chosen potentially sticking on that poke comp just a little too long, a little bit of a hindrance, if you will. So now finding yourselves one map down. Luckily not the end of the world. It's a first to 5, or a first to 3 rather, for a reason. Best of 5, you should say. But there's definitely has to be that next level taken here, especially now that, you know, Pachisuba is going to have their main tank of preference on unlock now with the Ramattra coming back into play.
Yeah, and of course, I'm pretty sure you can confirm this Mega too, but I believe that Arc is like, even though like they do have technically 2 tanks, Chosen do technically have 2 tanks, I believe Koenig is unable to play due to an injury, so Arc is their like guy, so they have to play around his hero pool, which Arc has a pretty decent hero pool, so this shouldn't be a problem. He can play the dive, he can play poke, he can play the brawl. Here's the thing is their DPS line of Chosen, we're swapping so many times that every time the swap came through, that means you're just at a perk disadvantage, you're at an ultimate charge disadvantage. You're kind of banking on winning the drive fight versus your counterpart who's maybe built up a perk or maybe built up like their ultimate, especially taking on that Freya who's just farming bola shots.
Yeah, 100%. And that is just sort of one of the annoying things going up against Freya, where you just can't do a whole heck of a lot, right? The character just sits at a distance firing bolt after bolt into you, and there's not really anything you can do. You know, when a Freya decides that you die, it's pretty much just a matter of when it occurs rather than if it occurs.
Yeah, now it becomes Chosen map pick here.
Well, but to go back to your earlier point, I was going to say with the tank thing, I'm not going to think because I don't know how Koenig is personally feeling. He has talked to me about how he is like working and trying to see how he can play. I know he's at least been able to function in deadlock because he doesn't have to move his arm around a lot in that, but you know, much different game in Overwatch here, so we'll have to, you know, maybe wait and see. But Koenig could potentially be subbed in if absolutely necessary here, but you know, you still have that one.
That rock, oh my goodness.
Like, the rock is just absolutely gargantuan there. And again, this whole round really was just being able to play the poke comp to sheer excellence here from the side of Chosen. I think Chosen have become really good in this poke style, whereas everybody else really tries to invent themselves in the brawl comp. So it'd be interesting to see where they go here. I know Flashpoint's normally a pain point, so you're probably not going to see that come up here, but Hybrid
next.
Yes. I was going to say Hybrid, certainly going to be what you want to look forward to here. I know King's Row is a lot of the time is what comes up, but we will have to just wait and see what the pick is.
I won't be surprised if Chosen do the same thing they did to Elvish in the upper. Yep, they're doing the same thing where they pick Numbani because nobody really practices Numbani, and you have a pretty strong ball player in Arctos, and Numbani is probably the best ball map out of the 4 hybrids that is available. That being said, however, I think, does loser get map pick and first ban? They do. So I was gonna say, if that was the other case scenario, then Patchy could have just said, haha, we're just gonna ban ball out, which I don't think will really be that big of a problem for them. But Chosen immediately protects banning that ball while also getting rid of Pomku's Malga. Now, if you're Pachisuba, what do you ban?
I mean, one thing I will say is, you know, like going for the Mauga ban here, I feel like it's one of those things where maybe you could have banned a different tank to do the protect, because Mauga isn't as strong on this map. But at the end of the day, it's sort of just being that extra safe, extra secure. Like you were saying with Pachisuba, you know, where they want to go with this ban could honestly go for the Mizuki ban, 110%. But actually, it's going to be the Kiriko, the other side of that duo.
Tim Weeks coming in.
Yeah, I would say Tim Weeks coming into play Ana, number one, but again, just wanting to, you know, pull apart that backline a little bit more here. So when you take away the Kiriko, what does your flex support have in the tank is always going to be the question here. And Charlie Brown certainly has a few different heroes, but none have looked as strong as the Kiri, that's for sure.
Yeah, and notably, Charlie Brown was the one playing Mizuki last map, so he wasn't even on the Kiri. June was on the Kiri, so it was a little bit of a flip-flop there. But now, Tim Week is coming in for Bowsy, so this is just like we're gonna get rid of the one thing that, well, one of the main things that hinders Ana being that cleanse, but also Charlie Brown has an Ana on him. Played against it, it's not bad. He just kind of gets a little creative with his positioning sometimes, and that's what did do Chosen it on a little bit of Risapi. Was there a couple of times Charlie was just like a really weird spot away from his team with no help.
Yeah, I've said this to Charlie a few times. You know, it's very interesting to watch my Ana go for a flank like he's a tracer, but you know, it happens.
He's trying to do his best Shu cosplay, okay?
But that's the thing, like, if you watch Shu's never going on crazy flanks. He's normally just in position, just people try to assault him, and then he kills three when it's like, oh, you dare push me? Go ahead.
Yeah, if you dare push me, I'm just gonna call my buddy Violet to line me out of here. Exactly.
But
speaking of lifeline, they're running the Pachie is running the. I'm just gonna refer to this as the Zeta division backline because Zeta's literally the only team, like to my knowledge in pro play, that actually played on a cat. But no, Fungin was just trolling a little bit. Both sides showing the classic Brig Ana on defense. Pachie though. Last time they played Numbani, they full held the team. So there are no slouches on Numbani, and especially since Pachie's on the Diva, Chosen showing the Wrecking Ball with the double hit. What does double hit usually get eaten alive by? Diva.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting to see, you know, again, Arctos has made magic happen on the Wrecking Ball before here, so would not be surprised to see it somehow work again, even into a direct counter. That being said, Chosen are also assaulting with a very interesting sort of DPS lineup with both the Sierra and the Freya here. This is sort of not an anti-Diva per se, because Diva can obviously eat all of this damage, but it does sort of force the Diva to act. Oh, nice sleep. Like I was saying, it forces the Diva to pay. Yeah, forces the Diva to sort of pay attention to the DPS rather than just ignore them.
Yeah, of course, Diva can like eat the bullet shots. She can eat the tracking dart, all the tracking dart damage. And another sleep from Tim Week, just like our Arc is not having a good time so far, as both of his hits have just been denied by Tim Week with the sleep darts. And now Ponku trying to find out Taken. Aegis does go down in the meantime too. Ani, and like Sierra's just a weird, like kind of like Sierra's like noob trap, like kind of hit scan, like for players in my opinion. Like she's not better than any other hit scans in the game. As Taken will find out Taken well in the meantime, as the entirety of Pachisuba pulled back to try to get rid of Arctos on the ball, and then Taken will find out too. We'll find out Tim Week, Fudging the only support left alive, and he will find out Taken on a complete rampage, finds 3 so far in this fight. Ponku getting really low, will get D-Max. Ani has to turn down, get the heck out of there. Taken actually is the one who will take down Ponku's back, and Taken will find the 5 with 4 kills for Taken to blow that point wide open.
Yeah, you can't ignore a Freya ever, right? There's two bolts stuck into somebody, immediately gonna come away with a kill here. And now that we've dislodged on this first point, you already see Arctos is going to be trying to set up a whole heck of a lot more here. Those denies are very easy on the first point, but they do get more difficult as you go throughout the map here. So Pachisuba, their backline is going to have to be a little bit more precautious with how they play, and Arctos is going to have more room to really just roll around and do what our favorite Wrecking Ball can do.
Yeah, now there's going to get a... Chosen's going to get some progress here. Take it, almost didn't take it. What are you doing? You're standing still at Arctos. Full fight in that kill, and now Pachisuba has to wait for the Xion to come back into this fight. It's taken, well, it's very close to that spray. probably see like maybe a nano spree coming out here from the side of Pachisuba to get back in here, but as the cart is moving very slowly though, as Ani does finally get himself towards the cart to put some pressure on it, but the bolt from Taken will force Rico win! On the Taken, that's not a hook, that's a really hard one to hit onto a Freya. Now Ani forces the recall out from the counterpart Tracer, and Wolf will get bowled through by Arctos in the end. Arc found Timweek out in the meantime too. Now might actually find Fungin too, as well as this Wrecking Ball, whether it be Taken or Arc, both of these players are just doing a lot of damage. And Nano Boost out onto June. Pomko elects not to commit the Diva Bomb, interestingly, but the cart is in a position, I guess, where maybe you can get in like on one last ditch effort touch, as I think Annie is close enough to get it if they decide to go for it. Deciding against it, as Ani actually misses Charlie Brown, who was just crouched in the room up top.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a little bit too late decision there. You saw Ani blink out to the cart just too little too late. Both teams have a slew of ultimates built up like you were talking about though, so it's going to be interesting to see what Pachisuba has to commit to this defense here, as already the dive's coming onto the cart.
Ignis will fight both of the backliners go down for the side of Pachisuba, and here comes a spree out from Taken Wall. Taken Wall will find out Taken and June, and spree will dissipate. Taken has to back off to this mini health pack, but Arcto's under a lot of threat. Oh no, all the armor's gone. Taken trying to find that kill, won't find the bike connection. Wolf manages to force out Ignis in the meantime, and only costs you the spree. But Chosen didn't commit anything to that fight either, so it's gonna be pretty much a big ult fight here. But the big thing is Pachi has this nano available, Chosen don't.
Yeah, the nano boost obviously being that massive factor here. Both teams with the rallies as well as the ball goes in, but Ponku just deletes.
Ponku deletes Taken and then just smacks Charlie Brown upside the head, and Annie will fall up onto June. And you didn't even need to commit any ultimates to that fight. It was just a nade from Tunic, I believe, that just caused something that caused a lot of aggro. And now Chosen are starting to kind of get into the classic third point in Bonnie. It's really common for teams just to get stuck on this third point for a very long time.
Yeah, Pachisuba also not having to invest ultimates like crazy. They're able to just sort of keep holding things is absolutely what you love to see. A Wisp Pulse Bomb, not what you love to see, but able to get the recall, able to live at least for the time being, and the nano now.
The nano committed onto Annie. I think that we went to put that on the Taken wallet, but Annie doing quite a bit of work. We'll find out Charlie Brown through that rally help from June. Rico does get forced, and now Fungin joins the part and says, hey, can I get in on this too? Rallies into the room. We'll find his counterpart in June. Maybe finds Taken. Taken though does too much damage to that brig before he can die. And now Pomku's going closer. Listen, Sleep Dart goes wide onto Timweek. Timweek barely 1 HP, but Archo just overextends into a face full of bolts from Taken, and Annie will finish that kill with a quick smack upside the head. And now Chosen had to turn tail and get the heck out of here as they don't have their main engagement player.
Yeah, and I mean, that was just a little bit too much hubris from Arctos that are going far too deep into the spawn room. So now Pachisuba trying to reset up this defense, although with the swap over to the Orisa, a lot less ability to control that high ground, so it feels like Taken might be able to play a little bit more freely as that Bolo goes into the back line.
It doesn't hit anything, but I think it does force Timweek and Fungin to move a little bit. But Pomku just takes way too much damage on the point by himself. That'll boost out onto Taken. Agnes finds 2 in the meantime. Taken Wallet and Taken having a little bit of a do, but Agnes with 3 kills in this fight. Annie trying to find anything in the back line. Recall will get forced out, and now it's just going to be up to maybe Pomku and maybe can get a touch, or Ani is the one who's closest, does get the touch on Fungin. Will manage to get there in time just to force, just to throw their body on Minefield out from Arctos. Should spell the end of this defense, and Chosen will manage to cap with 1:42 remaining.
Yeah, some extra time in the bank as well here. You know, you absolutely will take that as caps on Numbani. Far from guaranteed, so absolutely, if you're Chosen, you're happy with that. Pachisuba now has a bit of a, you know, a tall task ahead of them with getting through this entire map, right? Obviously, you know, the Ana's going to be a lot more favored on the defense here, so now switching over to the offense, Timweek going to have a little bit more of a struggle trying to provide the value that you want in these situations here. Meanwhile, though, the rest of Pachisuba, you're pretty much going to be putting all of your eggs into the Taken wallet basket. You're going to want to see a Freya duel to match what Taken on the other team has been doing here. One of the Takens is going to have the Freya map of a lifetime here in order for this to, you know, definitively be the map they win.
Yeah, now Ignis showing the Pharah as well initially. Pharah's not bad on first point. You have quite a lot area to work with. Pomku maybe showing the Sigma. It's not a bad shout. You can block off some of the sight lines, but you're sacrificing that dive mobility to get on in the face of Chosen's backline. But I think Pachi might be playing more to catch Arc now, with the Sleep Dart, Bash, Whip Shot, Rock, Bolts, just to try to explode Arc on the engage before the rest of his team can do anything.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where these engages go here, but also, you know, I feel like Wrecking Ball is one of those momentum characters, so once you start feeling yourself, it's hard to turn off here.
Geez.
And yeah, Taken just decides to delete. All of this spam damage, it's really just too much for anyone to bear.
Yeah, it was a concussive, it was a couple rockets from Agnes, and then the Bolt finishes off Taken Wallet too, and Timweek just gets caught scoping down main, and will get finished off as the defense metrics are not enough from Pomku to save him. And now shows now not the worst case because it's only a couple of seconds starting off the clock here. Pomku is slowly moving up, does see the Wrecking Ball go flying past, is trying to assault this back, we'll just get whip shot off the high ground by June, and now kind of in a little bit of a rough spot here. Timweek does make it forward. Ani does go down to 1 HP. Pomku though just gets exploded out of that neck by the Freya and company. Good whip shot from Funjin to at least relieve some pressure off of himself and take off himself and Timweek, but Agnes finds out taking well, and now Pachisuba, that's a reset.
Yeah, just a reset into the spawn here. Only a minute off the clock here. Oh, but Charlie Brown actually kind of left alone for the time being. Able to get some good sustain here and the break there in time. But, you know, June has to be nice little stagger it late as well here. But, again, like I was just about to say, June has to be aware of where Charlie Brown is playing at and needs to be there, right? That's sort of like 80% of the point of Brig in this comp is just to be a bodyguard for the Ana.
Yeah, not taking Wallet has gone towards the Cassidy, so a lot more let's just try to stop Arctos' engage, but also try to put some pressure on the far. Big slam out from Arctos, but Pomku, I appreciate the attempt, but Arc just gravels back on. Taken does find out Agnes in the meantime, so a little bit of a relief, a little bit of a pressure relief from getting that pick, so not as much spam damage coming down, but Arctos just goes bowling again and finds out Ani in the meantime now. Pachi are still playing up despite being down their tank, but Pile Drive does come in. Funjin will get dropped. Only taken though, down to 1 HP. Pomku will find that kill in the meantime, but Pachi are kind of going back into Antarctic Peninsula point 2. This fight is still going. Arctos down to very low HP. Will manage to get out there, find the Mega Pack, and Chosen will hang on to this point for a little bit longer.
Yeah, and it's just going to be a cleanup situation here.
Pomku gets a tick.
Yeah, Pomku gets a tick as the baby diva here, and now your Brig is back as well. With Bunjin having rally, this could potentially be like a commitment to try to get the diva back in mech, but Pomku finally taken down means that this rally might end up being in vain.
Yeah, appreciate the effort to try to keep Pomku up there, but now you only have this Nano Boost and this Deadeye to work with. Chosen sitting on 5 ultimates available to try to get just to hold for another minute. Now, the big thing is don't press Q at the same time or else you're going to probably be sorry, as Pomku's going up top while the rest of his team's going through the bottom. Interesting.
Yeah, trying to do a bit of a
what a
trying to
sweep.
divide the oppression.
Oh, the now Mirage does find out too, but Taken will find out Agnes before he does fall victim. But now Arcto is just assaulting Funjin in the meantime. Will smack him upside the face. But that was 3 of the 5 that you had. You still just mindful at least to deny space. Taken steals his bullet shot. Pomku now making a desperation switch over to the Sigma. Funjin over towards the Mizuki. And now Pachisuba only really have maybe the death block him. Actually, Ani switches as well, and now Chosen have a couple ults just to deny this point and take go up to or kind of series as the one shot does connect. Timweek will find Taken. Arctos will find Timweek in the meantime. Arc will find the backline by himself. It's Taken Wallet trying to find out this Brig. Shield raised. Arc still wreaking havoc in the backline with Agnes. Agnes finds out Annie. Here comes the mindful out from Arctos to deny so much space here. We'll smack up Taken Wallet upside the head, and Pomku did fall victim to Agnes in the meantime, as that'll be a very dominant Numbani from Chosen to tie this series up.
Yeah, playing exactly how they want to there and just sort of locking Pachisuba out of the map entirely, especially with that Malga ban, really making it so there's just not enough damage. There certainly were moments where you saw the pressure coming through on to Taken, but again, Freya is in a state right now, I personally feel, where you can just sort of take over lobbies if you aren't being checked by an incredibly close margin here. So absolutely props to Chosen right there. So now tied 1 apiece heading into map number 3. Pachisuba at least will get the pick here, and depending on the map and mode, I would not be surprised to see if Wrecking Ball, much like the season opener, is going to be banned.
Won't be surprised. And the other thing is, if Conan can't play, that means like in the past what Chosen I think I've done is they baited the ball ban. By just like keeping Arc in, and then instant the ball ban comes in, they swap in Conan because subs take place comes after the bad phase. They don't really have the option to do that. Not a big deal. Arc can play other things. That being said, Vault is by far his strongest hero, and looked a little bit shaky on the Sigma. He had his moment on the Sigma on map 1, but unfortunately Pachi was just really dominant at map 1. Though when Arc is allowed to play the Wrecking Wheel, as it's sometimes called, very strong at that hero. And but the thing is now, I believe we go to push, and push is one of the best map types for Wrecking Ball. So if you're gonna ban ball, might as well be in a push.
Exactly right. This is the space that you want to ban it on, 110%. Just because again, the Wrecking Ball, it could absolutely go crazy here, but also it's just something that you necessarily don't want to deal with in back-to-back maps here. But Pachisuba certainly has their own sort of plans, I'm sure, cooked up in what exactly they're planning, because it is pivotal when that ball ban comes through. You only get one of them per series, so you better make it count. But speaking of making things count, we're going to go ahead and let everybody take a rest, if you will. Throw it to a quick little break, and when we're back on the other side of this, it'll be the continuation of this lovely, lovely match.
All right. Welcome back to the lower semis of this C League. Pachisuba and Chosen tied 1-1, and during the break we did get the map pick from the side of Pachi and the ban, which is actually surprising. We are going to Coliseo per Pachi's pick. Of course, now this is the thing where Chosen kind of did this against us. They've kind of burned two of their most valuable bans really early, and that can come back to bite you as the series drags on, as they've been two Pomku signature heroes, and that might come back to haunt them later if this goes to 5, especially with not having the access to ban those heroes later on. But we do have the bans from both sides as when we get to that screen. But Coliseo, probably the worst map for ball of the push maps that are in the game. So Pachi kind of doing a little bit due diligence here.
Yeah, Pachi wants to do their due diligence for sure. That being said, though, we are heading over to Coliseo, and we do not see the Wrecking Ball ban right away. Instead, going to be a ban over to the Tracer, which certainly Agnes Tachyon was being a thorn in the side. So smart to take that one out. And with Zarya ban on the other side, it'll be interesting to see how Chosen chooses to play this. I personally think they might not even lean to the Wrecking Ball initially. They might try to come out on their poke composition here with no Zarya swap in sight. Sure, you still have other options, but you know, Zarya is certainly going to be that main one that can walk through and be a real nuisance for the Sigma. Yeah,
that being said, now Chosen have banned all their valuable bans pretty much as far as tank goes. Pomku now having access, I don't think he's going to play Mulga or Mantra here, and Pomku no slouch on the Sigma either, so it's like not really a thing where Pomku can't play multiple different heroes as well. The Tracer ban from the side of Pachi a little bit interesting, unless they just don't want to have a Tracer mirror, let Ani play that Reaper instead. And we do have sub Bowsy is coming back in for Tim Week, so probably just going to go back to the Kiri Lucio or Kiri Mizu stuff, but I won't be surprised if we just see like that double hit Sig comp. That being said, that does have the weakness of like Sigma's very vulnerable to just getting rushed down. And when I've seen Pachi play Coliseo, they usually play like the Mei Ramatra rush just to completely just isolate the tank and blow them up.
Yeah, and that's sort of the name of the game when you are playing these different compositions. Ultimately, you know, you can boil down a lot of Overwatch metas to the very simply one tank trying to blow up the other here. You know, you obviously get more nuanced as you go, but realistically, it's always going to be a matter of the tank duels, especially in the 5v5 world that we live in and thrive in. And I did say thrive at me, people on Twitter, I don't care. But as we get our first glimpses into the spawn room, it'll actually be Pachisuba potentially rocking the Pope composition, hovering the Sigma initially, whereas Chosen are on the tried and true, the Wrecking Ball. The question is, will it stick, or is Bowsy just rocking out?
Bowsy's just rocking out. They're probably just gonna play Luke Kiri, right? Yeah, they're just gonna play Luke Kiri, Mei, so they're probably reading that Chosen might be on like a less mobile tank. That being said, this map is kind of designed where Arc is basically AFK and non-existent for 90% of fights unless he can get in really early. So if Pachi recognized that, they could like maybe find an opening pick, as Taken nearly takes Charlie Brown's head off immediately out the opening gate. Here comes the follow driver from Arc. Nothing really found but a little bit of a knock up and some shielding for the Wrecking Ball player. Does a quick roll through Taken while looking for that snipe onto June. Ice Block will be forced out. Another pile drive in from Arc as Arc trying to find anything. Taken will find out Ani from that pile drive. Arc doing just being a nuisance. Wall will stop a little bit of the roll through. A very nice rock out from Bonku will find Ignis. Will signal Ignis's death, and Charlie Brown may have overstayed his welcome a little bit as he does. June looks like Bowsy, so both carries off the field. Arc shows another nice pile driver onto the corner, but a rock will end the Wrecking Ball spawn. Now June may have overstepped. Taken as well, going a little bit too close for comfort. Kinetic graph out from Pomku, and Ani has returned. Will end the Wrecking Ball. Pomku with another kill as Pachisuba's comp. It's pretty well designed at absorbing the pressure, so Arc really has to play for cooldown to get cooldowns out before he actually hard commits.
Yeah, and also Pachisuba, I mean, this is a composition that was pretty much built to sit on the objective and dare Chosen to remove them, right? Whereas Chosen, they really don't want to touch the objective. There's not a single member of that team that wants to, and now with just Ani in the back line, again, these are members that you have to scout out. You can't allow people to just flank like that.
Yeah, but Geo in the meantime found out the backline of Apache. Apache don't have any supports available to them here. A nice rock from Pomku will get Arctos slow, but the entire time that this is going on, the bot's been moving. They won't get the force spawn up, but they'll get extremely close to it. Now, just die on the bot. You stop their card progress for a little bit. Ani doing his best to stop the bot, and now Pachisuba have quite a few ultimates to work with. Instead, though, despite Bowsy being alive longer than Charlie Brown, Charlie's a little bit ahead in Kitsune Rush charge.
Yeah, I mean, it's 8%. It's mitigatable, you know, kind of situation. But now the scouting is on the other foot here, just not being aware. And Bowsy has to burn every cooldown just to live. Yeah, that's what happens when the engage comes through. But now on the other side, we'll see how many ults have to be invested as there goes the mines. Yeah,
on the bullet shot from taking Wolf land onto Pomku as he's using that flux, and Annie, rare on the follow up the flux, brings them up and brings up the hammer and slams them back down into hell as Pomku will find Ignis as well. But it did cost Pachisuba 3 ultimates just to get that back in. Meanwhile, Chosen only used that minefield to force a little bit of space in. Taken decided he doesn't want any more smoke from Pomku, going over towards the M-Red.
Yeah, and now you're seeing the Spree try to go onto the objective, deny these forward forms, the kill into Fungin.
Kill into Fungin, Ignis will find Bowsy as well, but you also used Beat as well from June, and if you're Pachisuba, that's a fine trade, because now you've taken it down to where both sides have the Kitsune Rushes exchange, but the big thing is Taken Wall, it just has its Blizzard to completely lock off Charlie Brown's Kitsune Rush and just make it so they can't use it.
Yeah, so these Kitsunes are going to be a factor, as well as Taken while it can just, like you said, throw the Blizzard out and really make it.
Or just take out, oh my goodness.
Taken has to be incredibly careful there, but an early kill onto Ani does mean that if Pachisuba is going to commit to this, they are committing down members here.
Yeah, and Taken Wall, a little bit goes sky high with that perk. Ice Block will get forced out. Fungin manages to find out Ignis in the backline. Blizzard, excellent Blizzard, the Blizzard, yeah, just locked out the entirety of the container from Charlie Brown, but Taken, an arc goes fine. Taken fights 2 arc with another one. Taken, maybe we're looking for a 4th onto Fungin here. Ani, all alone by himself, trying to find E-Trade, but June will find them out, and now, but the bot wasn't moving that at all during the entire time. And Pachisuba, they held on to the Kitsune Rush, so Chosen don't really have anything outside of maybe this Knife from Arctos to answer. Yeah,
so now Pachisuba, again, this is a team comp for Pachisuba that wants to play on the objective, so they can simply drop on, use the Kitsune Rush, and sort of dare Chosen to stay in their line of sight. Choosing to use it on the high ground, though, and with the disruption, Arctos could use this minefield to try to get this forward and finally take the lead for the first time this map.
Yeah, but Fungin and Ani just find out Charlie Brown and Ignis, and now Arctos in a little bit of trouble. It's full HP though, managed just to get out of there, but Pachisuba, the bot's going the other direction. Arctos nowhere in sight. And Apache, they almost have the Blossom and the Flux available. Fungin also building up towards the sound barrier. Fungin finally needs to get the sound barrier up as fast as possible, because Taken is really close to his own right protocol as well.
Yeah, so you have to see what's invested as the mines come out first onto the card, but oh, the Flux!
We'll fight. Oh my goodness, finds 3. It slams all of them back down to the ground. No kills will result in that, but a lot of cooldowns are forced out, including this override protocol from the side of Chosen. Lots of over Andy will find 2. However, Taken down to 1 HP. The pistol though does a lot of healing to get them back up to full health. As Chosen, it was quite a hefty investment from both sides, but Chosen managed to come out of that one. But they had to push the bot back towards the territory of Pachisuba. And Patchy did get the forward spawns up, I believe, just a lip there too, so they'll have to be able to take this fight in main.
Yeah, so wanting to take the fight now, seeing what they can do here. Fungin potentially a little bit on the zoning job here, trying to push back the Wrecking Ball. Arctos going to go in for a slam, trying to see what can be found. In the meantime, though, now it's just going to be the rest of the team, but already taken Wallet missing.
Yeah, and here, Suzu TP forced out sound barrier committed from Fungin and trying to send the team forward to find a trade. June will get the better sound barrier in the end, but nobody's dying on the side of Pachisuba. They're actually kind of just being a nuisance here to the point where Ignis feels like he has to invest in Spree. June will finally find a pick onto Ani. That Spree doesn't find anything but some damage, and Bowsy manages to take out Ignis, so now it's an even trade on both sides. Bowsy, though, however, will go down. Fungin might fall soon. Taken, we'll find out. Fungin, a massive rock from Pomku across the map. We'll find out June. Arctos will find Pomku in the end here, and now Taken, just being a nuisance, stalling this point out as long as possible. Power drop a little bit early on this from the side of Arctos. Taken will be taken out, but a little bit of stall pressure means that Pachisuba will have another fight before the bot hits the checkpoint.
Yeah, I mean, that was such a long fight, and as you pointed out, Pachisuba just living far longer than had any right to, so now moving over to the objective, and you're going to have to contest the blizzard being thrown onto the point.
Yeah, that'd be Agnes though. Has gone over to the Genji. We'll find out. Ani, here comes the blizzard out. The checkpoint will be capped by the side of Chosen, and now Pachisuba might, Pamku might be able to get on there to deny the lead, but he can't. And Arc does a good job of just keeping that Sigma at bay. But now the rest of Chosen deciding to turn tail, get the heck out of there. Fudget has switched over to the Mizuki, take him roll up towards the Sombra.
Yeah, they're really just trying to shut Arctos down now as hard as humanly possible. And Arctos, in a very sticky situation, has to try to get to this health back, does manage to in time, but being split from the rest of the team means that you're vulnerable in these fights, as now we're back in the middle.
Back in the middle, and the continuing rush from Bowsy could just spell the defeat. The chain from Fudget is beautiful. Here comes the Blossom out from Ani. It's a only Blossom, and Agnes is dashes straight into his death. Override Protocol out from Taken to try to find anything in response, but he's already left to a rock. Who gets that Taken midair? We'll find out that everybody who is ulti. Pamku finds another one to Charlie Brown. That was just Juno left below the point. And Pachisuba offers some heroics from Pamku and Ani, and we'll get the bot going in the other direction.
And these are such late swaps for Chosen. Arctos giving up the minefield to go over to the Sigma here. The lead's certainly going to be handed over. I mean, sure, you can contest, but you don't have the number. Oh, the one on the rock!
The rock is beautiful. We'll stop the football. Ani back is the fight too with the continuing rush of Bowsy. Fudget fight taken. Pamku will fight Agnes. Pump with another one on the June, and that should tell the lead change for Pachisuba, and they're going to be, with only a minute remaining, Chosen. Dangerous territory with how many switches they made. They only have Sound Barrier to work with.
Sound Barrier to work with. Taken Wallet building up towards this EMP. If Taken Wallet can hold this for an overtime situation, that is a lights out fight winner here if it connects onto the members here. So now you're watching Chosen have to push up. They have to stop this bot progress here and now. Every meter gained is going to be hell in overtime.
Yeah, especially since Pachisuba, they're gonna, if they're playing this good, they're just gonna down the bot if they think the fight's going the wrong way. And Pamku dying first is not what you want to see, but Pachisuba doing a pretty good job of just stalling this bot out, making sure that Chosen do not get any meters for free at all, and especially taking while vitally holds this EMP. Fudging holds this Kikai Sanctuary. Yes, Chosen have a couple ultimates to work with, but the Kikai Sanctuary can answer out that Considering Rush. And June, you cannot. Vitally, June cannot get caught by this EMP. If June gets caught by the EMP, it's over.
June has the most important job in the lobby. The question is she aware of it as we're pushing towards overtime here? Everybody's using a Kitsune Rush on the card. The hack comes on to Arcos.
Charlie Brown goes down. EMP. It's June. Barely won't matches get onto the remaining targets. Arctos with the Flux trying to find anything. Arc on 1 HP. Flux will come down, slash Bowsy out, but Arc all alone by himself. June will go down finally, and Pachisuba go up 2-1 to match point. And June makes the final mistake, gets caught up by the EMP, unable to drop the beat in time to save her team.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an unfortunate situation. You know the EMP is coming, but you want to, you still want to be on the bot, the overtime. It's a very chaotic situation to find yourself in there. But Pachisuba, they get the job done there. And so now only need one more map before sending Chosen out of the bracket. They have all of the tools to do it here, and the best part, they still have the Wrecking Ball ban in the back pocket, so that niche pick that Chosen could potentially fall back on is going to be missing from this final situation.
Yeah, now we're going towards Flashpoint, and there's only really one Flashpoint map that's good for Wrecking Ball. Actually, well, Atlas you can do, but when Chosen has played Atlas, has played Wrecking Ball on Atlas, hasn't gone super well. Servasa is your other option. But that being said, Pachisuba in the driver's seat now. They have access to all of the tanks that Pamku loves to play out. If Chosen ban the Sigma, well, Pamku is just gonna say, "Ha! I got Mulga, I got Zarya back, I got Ramatra back." So Chosen's strategy of trying to get rid of the most valuable picks early to try to gain momentum has kind of backfired on them.
Yeah, it's you're wanting to see just how it goes with those lock-ins and things like that, but fun fact, actually, I just received a TM from Koenig that apparently the reason for the Wrecking Ball switch is because Arctos fat-fingered and did not take the shield perk, instead taking the long slam perk. And so that's why just getting off of the Wrecking Ball there, because ultimately once you lose that sort of shielding for the Wrecking Ball, it's very interesting to set up here. But again, Pachisuba, you know, they played this so incredibly well, right? Playing the Sigma off a rip. It's like just being able to play the poke, play the distance, as well as, you know, being able to stand themselves on the objective when they had to.
Yeah, and this is why the Fat Finger mentioned, this is why I think Blizzard should add an option to, if you do Fat Finger your perk, you have like the option like maybe to refund it at some point during the game, because it's obviously Arc is playing the ball. That shielding perk is vital to defend against the chain, the rock, the hack, the flash, the freeze. Like every stun in the game is just like kind of nullified by that shielding perk. So unfortunately, that Fat Finger just means Arc can't do that. So now, but the good news is for them is Chosen, because they lost this map, they do get the map selection and they also get first ban. So they could protect ban the ball again and ban the Sigma if they wanted to, but if they and force them at 5. But once they get the map 5, they've run out of valuable tank bans to actually use against Pomku.
Yeah, and because again, that's the other situation that you find yourself in, right? Because you're going to have sort of that situation where the Wrecking Ball is going to be banned out on map 5. Map 5 could be terrible for Wrecking Ball. If we go to map 5, Pachisuba is just instantly banning it, unless they, you know, want to ban something else there. But from looking at our flashpoints here, it seems like New Jump City is going to be the name of the game here. And if my DMs are telling me things correctly, our Wrecking Ball player may be on the bench for this one.
So this is where like my background comes in, because outside Overwatch is Koenig. Don't hurt yourself. Hurting your arm further is not worth an Overwatch match, my guy. But it's his choice, so I'll just leave it at that. As we do see the Reaper ban from Chosen, so trying to target out Ani so that makes sense. Trying to get rid of like that lethal Maga Reaper or the Zara Reaper combo. But you said that Patchy would probably say the ball ban for map 5, but they've outright just said we're just going to ban ball now to not allow Arc to even try to do it. That depends, however, if Koenig is coming in for Arc. That's unknown at the time. So,
I mean, unless Koenig is lying to me in DMs, which I'm going to take Koenig's word that Koenig's not going to lie, my elbow-less tank, literally elbow-less, is going to be in the game here. But hey, like I said, Koenig's been playing the game the past few days. He's at least playing some games, so you know, I imagine this sub is not happening just because Koenig is bored, right, and wants to play a final map. You know, there are certainly strategies that Koenig can pull off that Arctos just isn't as tailored to here.
Yeah, the Roadhog strategy.
Well, who knows? Who knows if we'll see the Roadhog?
I would be surprised, because Conan likes to pull the Roadhog out specifically against. It sounds really like a throw pick, but for some reason he likes to pull Roadhog against the Maga comp of all things.
And it's one of those things where, like, every time I see it, I get pissed, and I'm like, Coney, get the hell off of Roadhog. But I can't argue with the results, and I've seen some good results with it here. The only times I've seen bad results with it is unironically when I'm in playing and I'm doubting it the entire time. So maybe it's better that I'm on this side of things for Chosen to rock out here. But
so Friendly Koenig is playing through a lot of left elbow playing. Please, my guy, be careful. We do not want you to further hurt yourself just for a game of Overwatch. But it's nice to see him come back. He did show that picture of his elbow in Gen Chat a while ago, and that looked pretty nasty, the injury he had. So, just saying, take it easy, man. Don't overdo it.
Listen, for Koenig, this is a win-win situation, right? If you lose, you had an injury. Oh, well, happens to the best of us, right? You win this map, send Chosen to map 5, you've got MJ flu game status. You know what I mean? Like, you're chilling. Like, you absolutely have all of the aura in the world. The aura tier list in C League, it's gonna go crazy.
I've never seen or heard of anybody, especially an arm injury, especially the elbow, which is like which is like your main hinge movement of the arm. And yeah, Deadlock doesn't require like a much mouse movement. I've never played Deadlock, so I'm just going off of your word. But Overwatch is requires a lot of camera, more camera movement, more mouse movement, more arm movement. I've heard that Koenig has tried. Koenig has, like you said, Koenig has been playing recently.
Yes.
I think the last time I heard him say anything is that he feels like his arm is slightly paralyzed when he plays.
Yes, that is how it has been. Again, it benefits being on the team here. But we keep talking about Chosen, we keep talking about Koenig. I do want to put the light on Pachisuba, who are in a great spot right now, right? I mean, you're up 2, you just need one more map to seal the deal. Flashpoint historically has not been the best for Chosen, so Pachisuba, they certainly have everything going for themselves right now to be able to keep the momentum going. But it's just a matter of wanting to close it out here. You don't want to go into that map 5 situation, because while you get map pick and ban, you already burned the ball ban here. So this might be, something that they come to regret here. So Pachisuba definitely feeling like they just want to close it out here on New Junk City.
Definitely want to close it out here in New Junk City, because I believe the map pool for Escort, which is map 5, I think 3 of the 4 are pretty dive oriented. So it's not something you really want to think about right now, your patch. Just focus on this map. New Junk City, it's the classic brawl flashpoint. You really don't see that much outside of like hard brawl comps being played on New Junk City because of how the map was designed. It was reworked a while ago, and it did open it up slightly, but it's still pretty enclosed. So it's pretty brawl oriented. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Pachisuba roll out on the Malga comp, because Malga is it's like a kind of a staple here. But no, Punk is showing the Zarya, Koenig showing the Ramatra, which is one of his tried and true tanks. He's like more the brawl guy compared to Arc is like more the dive poke guy, I believe, and Koenig's more like the brawl guy. As Patchy, Bowsy's just doing like his shenanigans and cat in the spawn room, but Pachisuba showing the Zarya. I believe Annie's AFK because he hasn't picked the hero as Punk falls for a pause.
Yeah, that's one of those things where you ready up. You're sure you heard everybody in VC say they were ready because you didn't ask one by one, and your DPS player decided that they were gonna go like water their ficus on the other side of the continent here. It happens to the best of us. You know how it is. But those initial looks at the compositions, like you were saying, having the Zarya set up, the Zarya initially, like that just tells me that you're expecting Sigma. So I think Koenig might be able to catch them off guard coming in with the Ramatra here. But Annie seems to have recovered from the ficus watering of 2026, and now heading into map here, we are seeing the 2 variants of Brawl. Be interesting to keep an eye on the maze here. Whose wall can provide the most value and cut off the most people?
Yeah, the big difference is though that Pachisuba's the wall on the Punk is gonna blow him up. The wall on the Chosen's tank might not blow him up. The wall does come early from Ignis, does force a lot of cooldowns out, and yeah, there goes Pomku. The railgun shot though from Taken Wall nearly drops 3 people at the same time, as I believe that was a collapse shot. Now, man, Taken with the collapse shot finds 2. Jude and Ignis both go down to 1 shot from the Sojourn, and now Chosen had a beautiful opening pick, but it's both the Zazar's Taken just does his best merit impression and takes 2 down with 1 shot.
Yeah, I mean, Sojourn colliding, I don't know if that was necessarily needed. However many patches ago it was added, but you absolutely take it in spades here if you're taking Wall. And now just going to be clean up on the point after that fact here. Pachisuba finally does get the cap here. They took a little bit of extra time, but getting the job done here. And meanwhile, Annie already has built up to that Blizzard here, and I think this is going to catch Chosen way off guard. I don't think they're going to be expecting this in the slightest.
No, especially Ignis also did switch off with the May to try to get back faster to the point, so completely reset his ult charge there too. And now the big thing also is Bowsy is really close to this Kitsune rush as well, and Function is building to speed alarmingly fast. So it's gonna be Patches gonna have quite a few ults coming up here. So here comes the Blizzard out early from Ani. Doesn't find any lockups. Actually, we'll find out Ignis. Koenig will find Ani in the meantime. Deadeye out from Taken, trying to find any head to look at. We'll pull the trigger, but the bubble will just block that. Pumpkin gets some nice energy from that shot. Now Koenig in a little bit of a rough spot, forced to go into that numb for and block. Does have this Annihilation available. Will opt to use the Annihilation. Continuing Rush also committed from Charlie Brown onto the point to try to get rid of Pomku. Pomku in a really bad situation. Here comes the OC. Committed out from taking wall beat, also committed by Fungin. Agus finds out in the meantime. Koenig will find another onto Fungin, and the B commit from Patchy a little bit antsy there. You lost Pomku. You really need to hold that beat.
Yeah, you definitely want that beat back in this situation. But it is going to be one of those things of. So now, Pachisuba, they do have both the Grab and the Kitsune Rush to work with. These are amazing ultimates for the retake here.
June. Wide flank by himself.
I mean, hey, listen. Sometimes your May just wants to. It will pull attention and things like that. Sending somebody on an off angle, but just sending down even to the point. But already, Pomku, you can tell looking for this Graviton, even though it's not built yet.
Yeah, Tegan though gets caught out on his own angle. Here comes the Kitsune Rush, and Ani drops 2 before the beat can come down, and the beat from June doesn't really do that much to protect at all. Ani also finds out Tegan in the meantime, and now it's just Koenig and June left alive. Pomku looking for that Lucio. Belgium will ends up finding the pick in the end, and now Koenig into the nut form all by himself, but this should be the point for Pachisuba. Pachisuba 1 down, 2 to go.
2 more indeed here, and cycling through some ultimates as well here. So now Chosen again finding themselves on the back foot. They are heading over to build up this Blizzard and hopefully try to take it with that if you're Chosen. Pachisuba in the meantime, a little bit away from anything, but already on point is Chosen.
They have the high ground control here really early, and Agnes looking for that wall. You can see where he's posturing early. As the entirety of Pachisuba, both walls just get stacked on top of each other. That was actually a little bit funny there. But now, no wall value from either side. Ani is actually kind of closing the gap a little bit faster than you would like if you were Chosen for that Blizzard. But Koenig finds out Fungin early. And now, you lost all your speed component. You lost also, he was supposed to beat, but Taken Wall will answer back with a nice pick onto Taken. In the meantime, point will get flipped into Chosen's favor early. Taken Wall onto the low ground, looking for that pick onto June. The slow will stop that progress, and now here comes the Blizzard out from Ignis, trying to lock up Pomku. A nice wall from Ani actually saves Pomku briefly, and it actually does force Koenig to commit the Annihilation as well. So 2 ults. Apache doesn't commit anything in that. As your Apache, yeah, you lost the point flip, but you didn't commit anything, and you got them to commit 2.
Yeah, nice little ult trade there indeed, as now Pachisuba, like you said, they're going to be able to come in with both DPS ultimates and the sound barrier here. Fungin hopefully won't have to invest ultimately in a loss here. That being said, Chosen, honestly, they just need to be able to call it kite when either this Blizzard or this Overclock comes out, but already so deep is Ani.
Yeah, deep. Ani goes in deep. The continuing rush out from Charlie Brown. Ani responds by throwing the Blizzard down on it, so both teams just kind of go back to neutral territory here, but it's going to be who can get the first pick. Fungin looking to hunt down Taken in the meantime, but Fungin goes way too aggressive and gets taken out by the Sojourn, and he has that Thunberry off the table here for the side of Pachisuba. Now Pachisuba, they have to touch the point in order to actually keep in contention, but China Chosen calls for a pause.
Interesting pause situation, potentially some internet issues or something like that. We will have to wait and see. But Fungin honestly potentially ending that entire fight and the potential of taking that point for Pachisuba there. I understand the confidence in wanting to run somebody down, but if it was me in the lobby, Fungin can run that down all day, every day. But you do not run down Taken. He will hit the rail. I pinky promise. Gear issue.
Someone's mouse or keyboard, probably.
It's Koenig got like a metal gear in his arm? Is he like ascending to the next level? Like, what are we doing?
He's becoming a cyborg.
He's literally getting cybernetic upgrades as
he's getting a Cassidy arm.
Yeah, it's a Bebop arm. It's a Deadlock moment, clearly.
I've never played Deadlock, so I don't know anything about Deadlock.
Listen, you gotta tap in. You gotta tap into the Deadlock.
Is it a third-person shooter?
Yes.
Then I won't like it because I cannot.
Trust me. You'll get it. You'll get in. You'll love it. I'm sure. Solomon and the whole prod team, they love Deadlock. I know they do. Loving the what's it called? The night shift. I couldn't think of the name of it. My brain just slipping. But We are.
Oh, June's mouse isn't working.
Whose mouse isn't working?
June's mouse stopped working.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. Okay. So listen, while I'm here, let me give you some insights and talk about Chosen and specifically June, because I love June to pieces. That's my girl. If anybody says anything about June, I'll fist fight them because June's my homie. June. Yeah, I think we're going back in, but I'm still back in. But listen.
Here we go. Yeah, we're back. We're going back in.
It's fine. We'll save the June rant for another day.
Yeah, it's here. Rousey though finds out Koenig immediately off of that pause, so that should signal maybe Pachisuba retaking the point and making up for the fact that Fudge just kind of fed his brains out. Pomku finds out Agnes too as well. The high charge Navarro, Charlie Brown at a singular HP will get found out by Fudge. Taken while we'll find June in the meantime. And now Fudgin back to a little bit of in-team perhaps, maybe trying to find out Taken will find out Fudgin, and Fudgin will die. But for the side of Pachisuba, well, Pachisuba does have 4 ultimates available to their name. Chosen only maybe having, Chosen will have 3 ultimates as well here to answer. But luckily for Fudgin, he died during garbage time, so he'll be back in time for the fight.
He'll be back in time, and like you said, Pachisuba has tons of ultimates to their name. The only thing is, Pachisuba just can't invest all too much here, but already the Kitsune Rush forcing everybody to run for the hills here. So potentially a good disengage already from Chosen, but now having to re-engage to either this grab, and already the percentage is building to the point that you might have to just force yourself over to the point. Oh, the feet comes in just in time!
Yeah, but Bungie gets the better sounder arguably because of what's going on, as both Blizzard will get thrown out by Agnes under the point, but I don't think it locked anybody up as the overclock on the high ground from Taken Wall trying to find his counterpart in Taken. Taken Wall will take a shot to the chest as both these soldiers trying to find the first pick. Koenig will be the first one to go down, but Taken and June will find out the backline of Pachisuba in the meantime, and now Pomku all alone by himself will bubble out on to just keep his mate alive on the point, but now Pomku in a little bit of world hurt. Blizzard will be committed by Ani. Will freeze up Taken, and now Taken Wall finds out Charlie Brown as well. June only one left standing, and now Pachisuba 2 down, 1 to go. Actually, I mean, so Ani. And now Agnes does come up into the point, managing to stall it out a little bit, which does buy time for Koenig to return as well. Koenig really close to this annihilation, as the entirety of Pachisuba is probably just yelling to shoot this Ramacha, trying to kill this Ramacha, as Koenig just trying to block out as much damage as he can. Taken Wall will find Agnes in the instant that Koenig comes out of the net form. He will get dropped by Taken Wall as well, and now Taken Wall will get taken out again. Bungie will find Charlie Brown at the end, and now 2 down, 1 to go for the side of Pachisuba. And again, Agnes resetting his alt charge just to get back. Not a big deal though, because he did use Blizzard in that previous fight. Now Chosen, a couple ultimates on the board. Patchy don't really have anything to work with. They're close to quite a few, but they don't have anything online yet.
Yeah, but Pachisuba, again, that 1 point territory here. This is where they want to be. Chosen is going to potentially be in situations where they have to but
Taken will find out Taken. Agnes will find on in the meantime, and the ref will send Koenig flying forward with Fist of Fury, and Bungie will be on the receiving end of it. Koenig also finds out Pomku and Agnes will find Taken. A really nice shot though from Taken Wall to find his counterpart on the other side, and then Charlie Brown feels like he has to invest the Kitsune Rush there. And I mean, if you're Pachisuba, that's completely fine because you have beat, you have Kitsune, you have grab, and Violet, you have grab where June has beat.
Yeah, and so being like Pomku has a very small window here, and June potentially needs to be trying to build this as aggressively as possible, as aggressively as you can rather, but already being run down, has to fucking hide.
Oh no, as here comes, the OC comes out and Koenig dies, and then June commits a beat already down their tank. Taken Wall finds June. Pomku does get frozen up, I believe, by the perk from Agnes. Agnes will find the end of a fist from Pomku. And now Pomku trying to go forward. Taken will be taken down as Pat Chosen. Oh, it's a little bit of a disaster there as June commits beat down their tank, and Pomku doesn't even use grab, so now Pomku has the freest grab in the world.
Yeah, and this is also a good old cycle for Pachisuba as well, right? Use grab to win 1 fight, then coming in for the 2nd fight, you freeze them all up after, or just take Agnes out of the fight. That's a pick that cannot happen right now, because now that percentage is going to continue to build. And if you get into 1 fight territory against this grab Blizzard, it's just gonna be over. Like, there's just nothing you can do.
Especially since Chosen though they have a lot of ultimates available, but Koenig seems to just get shut down with the grab, and Panku's looking for this grab. Here comes the graviton surge out onto Koenig. Taking will take before anything happens. Blizzard comes out from Ignis as Blizzard does come out from Ani, but I think he got canceled out of it because he died during the animation. And now Pachisuba looks like they had a great fight, but now it spells disaster. Going the other direction, Taken Wall doing his best to try to get this fight back going in the other direction for the side of Pachisuba. Ignis and Koenig will find out Taken Wall, and now Bowsy and Bungie get staggered late. If Pachisuba, they had that in the bag, but Chosen, out of sheer willpower, just managed to bust through.
Stay of execution as this point will go over to Chosen here, finally with one on the board, but still more work to be done. Pachisuba, Pomku switching over to the Mauga now. No more Zarya, just going to be trying to take the tank duel, put this pressure onto Koenig's Ramatra in the 1v1 situation. Pachisuba, they emptied the ult bank. They're going to have Kitsune rush, but not much else. Meanwhile, the Kitsune will be matched on the other side by Chosen, as well as Taken having an overclock to bear with no sound barrier in sight means that Taken should be taking heads.
Yeah, so the Kitsune does come out from the side of Pachisuba. Ignis will die. Taken will find out Taken will, but Pomku will just stomp on his face and take him out. Kitsune rush out from Charlie Brown late. Koenig will find Bungie, and now Pomku trying to find Trace in the meantime in the backline. Cardiac overdrive out from Pomku. Pomku is refusing to go down. Bowsy also is pocketing this Malva through all of the damage that he's taken. The stomp onto Koenig might spell the end for this Ramatra, but the entire time the point is still in contention. Neither team has capped this point, but Pomku really close to death. The cardiac overdrive will prolong his life. Beat out from June, beat from Bungie to answer, taking off, has his ultimate available. Here comes the Blizzard out from Ignis to try to lock anybody up. It won't lock anybody up. Pomku waiting out patiently, manages to touch back onto the point. OC out from Taken Wall. We'll find out June. Cage fight dropped by Pomku in his dying breath, and Taken Wall it was like shooting fish in a barrel. We'll find out Ignis. Here, the Annihilation out from Koenig. Might be a little bit too late. Taken will find Shirley Brown. Taken will find Taken Wall in the very end. The Annihilation will expire. And finally, it looks like Pachisuba was the first lockdown under the point after that crazy fight. But Taken, still taking names. Blizzard committed by Ani to try to get this point. June throws himself into the blender and will die. Ignis will find out Bowsy. Recall does get forced by Ignis. Then the Tracer. Pomku finds Ignis. Finally. Wait, maybe not. We're not taking. Does watch a slide, but does manage to get out there in time, and now finally Pachi finds the first cap.
I mean, yeah, the fact that Chosen did not get that initial cap there is brutal. So now Chosen in a very rough situation here. Both teams have pretty much reset the ult bank to what it was heading into this fight. Everybody's been throwing everything in the kitchen sink here, but Taken going in with the OC already.
Finds out Bungie really early. The rest of Pachisuba are just in stall mode here. As Taken though gets taken up by Ani. Kitsune rush committed by Bowsy. Here comes the Kitsune out from Charlie Brown. Tony does get stomped onto the ground by Pomku, but the Rock will answer back. Charlie Brown though, Taken Wall finds a couple more kills. June will find Bowsy in the meantime. June will find another one on the Ani. June trying to do their best to try to clutch this one up, but it's not to be, as now Chosen final fight territory. Patchy, one more point. This point, if they lock this point up, they send their ticket to the lower finals against Elvish Soul Knife.
Pachisuba hanging on to this point. They are not going to give it up easily here. They have an ult advantage for Chosen heading into this fight, both the sound barrier and the pulse bomb, but something's got to give here. You've got to stop trying to tank damage into this Malka. You have to find the supports that are keeping him alive.
That's a good start. Taken finds Ani out immediately early, and now it's just Ignis doing the best to try to harass this backline. Pomku doing a really good job of staying alive. Beat from Bungie will send Pomku forward. Beat out from the side of June will respond to that. Pulse bomb goes wide from Ignis, but Pomku is taking a lot of pressure, trying to live. The rock from Koenig is good to stop Pomku. What does come up from Koenig? A way to try to confirm this one up. But the side of Chosen, they used everything they had in Pachisuba. Look what they have available to them.
This is bad. Chosen definitely wish they could hold on to that flux, and now not only can Pomku deliver the cage, but Taken can shoot into it, or Ani can just throw the blizzard on top to guarantee anybody is frozen. Chosen, realistically, being real, is gonna need a miracle here, and it's taking the fight aggressively potentially. That could be the thing that gets the job done. One pick, but there's still more to be done. Truthfully, Koenig's going to need to eat this blizzard if you really want to have a chance of staying alive.
Yeah. Chosen playing a really with the right call, though, playing aggressive, not letting Patchy set up. But now that Patchy's aware that Chosen are doing this, look at Taken. He actually manages to force out Ignis's recall really early. So that's going to allow the rest of the team to get in here. Taken trying to look for a snipe on the angle. Koenig down to a singular HP. The Eat is already out from Koenig. And here, Palku manages to find June early. Here comes the cage fight. Charlie Brown Lance just TP'd it dead. And side of Pachisuba, they say they had a really rough regular season and a really rough first match in playoffs, but they will send their ticket to lower finals. Chosen eliminated. Pachisuba will be moving on against Elvish Soul Knife later this week to decide who will face Freefall in the grand finals.
Yeah, like I said, Chosen, especially that last fight, they put themselves in an unsurmountable position, right? It was some good fights there for a moment, but just you're going into Blizzard Cage overclock and your beat is miles away from being built here. You know, you're absolutely trying to do what you can, but Pachisuba, they get the job done, they stay alive, and they move on in this bracket. Like you said, the match against Elvis Soul Knife now to determine who's going up against Freefall for that finals.
Yeah, now this is a completely different Patchy than I faced the first time in playoffs. They figured it out, so this is gonna be scary. This is gonna be a scary Patchy. So now it's kind of impromptu. You can agree or disagree with me right now, Mega, but we always like to do a player of the match usually. And my player of the match, I might be biased saying this as a tank player, but my god, Pomku did work.
I don't know if I can give it to Pomku. Crazy little.
It's either Pomku or Taken Wallet. Like, both those guys were going nuts.
I mean, Taken Wallet was absolutely going crazy, but there were maps where Taken went silent, whereas Ani on the other side, you know, the key swaps, I feel like May's never get highlighted, so I want to slide it over to the May player if I'm being realistic, just because, again, you know, there's so much that goes into May play besides just damage, right? You're zoning, you're effectively a second tank on the battlefield with the amount of space you can create. So tons and tons of props to Ani, in my opinion. You know, I know you wanted to give it to your tank player, but I'm gonna have to reject that one today.
Yeah, I mean, give it Ani. He's known for his Reaper. Like, mainly I thought he was just a Reaper one trick coming into the season because that's like a lot of what Patches comes for designed around was Reaper. But also, you have two May players technically on this team because they can play the May, because Taken can also play May. So they also just have the option May Reaper than the May Soj. So a lot of flexibility on the DPS line for Patchy here. But now, Patchy, they get their shot to get revenge against Elvish Soul Knife, the team that knocked them into lower bracket and made them run the gauntlet just to get here.
Yeah, I mean, again, like you said, running the gauntlet, had to play play-ins to get in initially, immediately knocked down. A lot of people wrote them off, but now standing as one of the final three teams. This, again, you never write anybody off. Playoffs is always a different beast here, so certainly going to be interesting to watch them against Elvish Soul Knife, as well as whoever makes it to that match against Freefall here. And we'll see who ends up taking the crown here in C League. It's great.
Yeah, and I want to put this out here. It would be, I'm not wishing anything against my own team, but the only thing that beat Freefall at all this season, discounting kickoff, was Pachisuba. They 2-0'd Freefall in week 2.
Yeah, but there's certainly words.
Yeah,
there's words about that match, but we don't have to talk about them.
I'm not sure if we're doing like an exit interview with anybody from Chosen besides yourself because you casted this one. So if you could ascertain if anybody wants to. If anybody's like gonna do an interview, it looks like we have Koenig. It looks like we have Koenig waiting to be in here. Well, yeah. So whenever Solomon, we are ready. Whenever you want to drag Koenig up here. Hello, Koenig. How's the arm feeling? How's the arm feeling, my guy?
Not bad, all things considered. Not bad.
The instant I saw you were coming in, I was like, please don't overdo it. I know you really want to play, but also don't hurt yourself further. But very valiant performance from you guys. And I mean, this is a team that you actually beat during the regular season. So, what do you kind of think went wrong during this match against Apache?
I mean, we definitely just overthought our comps. Communication definitely wasn't the best from us either. Yeah, we just weren't on the top of our game today.
Yeah, and it just kind of felt like you guys were making a lot of swaps in terms of constant swaps on map 1, a lot of swaps on map 3, a couple swaps on map 2. That's kind of like been a thing I've noticed, like watching you guys and also playing against you guys, is your team kind of will swap really early or really late, and then that comes back to bite. And that's something you guys tried to work on throughout the season, or is that just kind of thing that you guys always have done?
It's definitely something we've talked about. Apparently didn't work on it enough, all things considered. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely something we brought up at least once.
Yeah, so is this, I believe, I don't know if you've captained in the past, Koenig. I know you've played in the past, but is this your first time captaining BPL?
Yeah, first time captaining.
So how was this experience? Did you meet your expectations, or was this kind of more of a surprise?
I think we should have won this game, but all things considered, I think we did pretty good over the season. Finished with a 4-1 record in groups. Yeah, I think we did pretty good. Definitely an improvement for me from last season.
Well, last season I think you were jailed. Just no offense to Jinx's teams, but my God,
it happens. It
happens. But
I just didn't want that to be my team.
You didn't want that to be. You did. I will put this out here now that you're here. You did steal two people that I told Chaos to drop for Elvish. So you stole Kaken and Ignis because I said to drop both of them, and you took both of them.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I tried to get blue also, so...
I think a lot of people are going in for blue. But,
yeah.
But looking at this roster, Arc, I've known Arc for a bit. He was like the biggest, like... I thought it was a ball one trick going in. I was like, I can just play Hog or Diva or Mog and just beat him. I didn't think he'd be as flexible as he was, especially like one of the first people that actually beat me in a Sig Mirror in a season.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely picked up a lot of heroes during the season. Like, beginning of the season, he kind of said the same thing, but he really stepped up, covered especially for me when I got injured and couldn't play. Definitely deserves that World Star nomination.
Yeah, but to wrap this up, do you have any like shout outs at all, and any closing words?
I'd like to shout out my whole team. Especially Agnes Tachyon, who I believe got snubbed for MVP. That was my MVP nomination.
You can blame me for that because Elvish had two people nominated for MVP.
It is what it is. I mean, you guys were favorites in playoffs. Yeah, I enjoyed the season. Looking forward to coming back next season. Run it back. Do even better.
Well, it's been nice chatting with you, Koenig, and even though the season did end the way you wanted it to, you guys did make top 4, so very nice to end. Wait, was it top 4 or top 5? I would have to look. Top 4. So top 4 for first time captain, very nice. Not the way you wanted to end, but you guys did put up a great fight against Patchy.
Yep.
All right, so Mega did have to go. Still, just moving on. So, if you want to pull the schedule for the weekend, because we do have the schedule for the rest of the weekend here, as Jimmy actually is in the VC with me now. I didn't notice he joined.
Yeah, I'm just here so you're not all by yourself. But I guess Jimmy's also still here.
Thanks, Jimmy. So let's take a look at the rest of the games this week. We have Hongsa versus Blue Rose, a very good one. So that'll be taking place tomorrow, and then also taking place tomorrow, a rematch of the kickoff finals from A-League, Amatori versus Siren Song, and then Sunday we'll have Caladrius versus Odin, and that will be preceded by the BPL Season 8 award show. So
yes,
tune in for that.
That's what I'm here for.
So if Jimmy wants to talk about that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think your team, Elvish Soulknife and Pachisuba, I think you guys are playing this weekend, right?
We are playing Sunday at 7 as well, yes.
Sunday, yeah. So we'll see. Maybe we can get 2 streams going for that. Depends on how many people are available, because we definitely want to cover that as well if we can. But yeah, award show. We will have. I finally counted all the votes, so and we might have some cool graphics made by some really talented people for it. So 7:30 on Sunday. Go tune in.
Yeah, and just one last time, if you want to pull the bracket again, the C League B and CB and A or whatever in that order. But yeah, we do have the lower finals. Elvish Silknife versus Pachisuba will be Sunday at 8 Eastern. The winner of that will go on to face Freefall in the grand finals next weekend. This is a rematch of Upper Round 1 where Silknife knocked Patchy out 3-0. So Patchy looking for a revenge against Elvish Silknife. They also try to face Freefall. I will say this again, Patchy was the only team during reg season to actually beat Freefall. So there's always that storyline as well.
And I mean, you said it earlier, like they seem to have found their rhythm. So
they've woken up.
Do you think it will be another easy 3-0 for you, or do you think it will be?
No, I think this one's going to 5. I think this one's going to 5.
Let's hope so.
If Patchy play the way if Patchy play the way they've been playing for the last couple of weeks, it's gonna be a tougher match for us. But going on to the B League bracket, we of course have Hongsa versus Blue Rose for the lower semis, and then the winner of that goes to take on Mango Nectar, and then Hidden King will be waiting in grand finals for one of the teams. Of course, all the teams in the lower bracket that are remaining are very good. Hongsa is very strong. Blue Rose is a par org team, so you have that going for you. Mango Nectar has been pretty strong too. Of course, they got knocked out by Hidden King, unfortunately, so they're probably looking to try to get back at Hidden King up in that grand final bracket, up in the grand finals. And we'll take a look at A2 here just to finish it off. So here, there's of course Amatori versus Siren Song on Saturday. Tomorrow, a rematch of Kickoff Clash. Winner of that will secure those tickets to grand finals. And lower semis, Odin versus Caladrius. Odin and Caladrius have been both doing pretty solid in the lower brackets. They both got knocked into the lower bracket in the after the upper semis. Odin had the brutalist knockout, falling to a reverse sweep from Amatori. So the winner of that will go on to lower finals.
I believe Siren Song so far have perfectly dodged our stream every single week. So this will be the first time I think we showed them on the mainstream for once.
I think they were. I think the last time on their mainstream was like week 2 or week 1.
Oh, maybe yeah. But they've been like silently like marching through this bracket here, so I'm very curious to see what they can do tomorrow.
They weren't playing, like they were at risk of just exiting the tournament really early, but they fought their way through. But that's all the brackets. All the schedule is there. We'll have the awards show at 7:30 on Sunday. I believe, if you can correct me on the wire with the awards, like it's tanks, TPS support, most improved, rookie, MVP, and I don't know if I'm missing one. Jimmy, you can correct me.
That's about it. We might have another community figure award. We're still we haven't really decided on one yet because this year there's a lot of cool people that we can give it to, but it has to make sense. So we're
and I also
not confirmed yet, but
this is kind of a little tidbit because I don't know if everyone saw that announcement. If you didn't see the announcement, BPL World Cup's coming.
Yeah.
Make sure to sign up for that. Make sure you sign up for that. I didn't even know they had this thing. This is actually the first time I'm seeing it.
Yep. That was quite a wild tournament. That was the first time I was on stream like hosting and stuff like that. I have good memories from it. I played for Atlantic even though I'm German. Let's see if that will repeat this year.
I'll figure it out. But besides that, and also, I think there's like a Minecraft thing going on as well, I believe. Yeah, there's
next weekend we'll have a Cobblemon server run by Tech.
Yep. So there's a lot more fun stuff even after this BPL season ends. Of course, you have other tournaments going on as well after BPL ends. But that is all we have here tonight. Patchy moving forward to lower semis. Of course, I was joined by Megalast, who had to leave after the last map. But Jimmy, thanks for hopping in, so I wasn't by myself this entire time. But we have a bunch of really good upcoming matches for the rest of the weekend, and also the awards show on Sunday. So stick around for the rest of the weekend, and you'll have more BPL action from A, B, and C League.